Welcome to Weekly Leaves Week Tweets.
I'm Doug Ireland, joined here by my ever co-host guy, James Roberts, and we're going to go over some of the week's crappiest Leafs tweets or the weakest Leafs tweets that we could find. Hopefully you don't recognize any of these because that means you wrote them. But we're going to get things rolling right away. First up, our first week Leafs week tweet is, quote, "Honestly, I'm not sure what to make of the trade. We just traded a 30-goal center for a defenseman to replace Jake Gardiner. Can someone explain this to me? Hashtag Leafs Nation, hashtag Leafs Forever."
Well, I mean, if you're looking at it that way, then you're obviously not looking at the full picture. We've needed the right-hand defenseman for how long now? We've wanted one, we've coveted one, and we went out and got one that is in the top 10 in the league, hands down in Tyson Barrie. So I don't understand where you're coming from with your 30 goals. Did he score 30 goals last year? No, he's done it twice in his career. I don't see him getting those 30 goals again, being our third-line center. That being said, it could happen. But when he played behind JT and Matthews, it didn't. And also, may I remind you, the past two playoffs, we have had no Nazem Kadri in our lineup for, I believe it was 12 of the 14 games we played. So, you know what? Go ahead and say what you need to say. But we got what we needed. And Jake Gardiner, who knows? He may still be a Maple Leaf. Hashtag Leafs Nation. Hashtag Leafs Forever.
I mean, Tyson Barrie and Jake Gardiner are two very different types and styles of defensemen. I agree with you entirely. But keeping it moving, second week Leafs week tweet is, quote, "Leafs fans need to call a truce on their Babcock/Marner/Dubas/Nylander beefs and really focus on making fun of Ottawa and Montreal right now. These dumps are imploding, and you're all giving them a free pass. Fools."
Well, honestly, I do agree with the first bit of the mantra. You know what? We need to start putting, the Babcock, Marner, Dubas, Nylander, whatever your hatred is, toward whatever section of the fan base you feel like beefing with on that day, and come together. How come it when it was only this team was losing and was crappy that we all banded together and went and poked the bear at Montreal or shook the stick at Ottawa, but now we're good. We only want to fight with each other. I don't get it. You know what? I don't see the need to exactly make fun of other teams' fan bases. Looking at you, Ottawa, looking at you, Montreal. Montreal's got cap space they can weaponize. Don't poke that bear. Ottawa is the new Maple Leafs. They have, 6 of our players from last year plus a coach. So, don't hate on the guys that we used to love. Other than that, like I said, the beginning of the tweet makes complete sense. Leafs Nation, let's come together right now over Tyson Barrie. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is one of the better tweets we've had on this segment. You could do a lot worse than the problems that, like you said, internalizing all of that, and then the part that I don't like is telling people to go and attack other Leafs other fan bases. That's not cool, man. You know how much hate and bullcrap there is on Twitter. You don't need to add fuel to that fire. Trust me, there are people that are going after Ottawa and Montreal and ripping on them constantly. They're just not in the Twitter threads that you're following. There's no need to pile on other teams, even if they are Montreal or Ottawa. Now, if we play them in the playoffs, that's a little different. But as Canadians, we have a certain obligation to band together, and I feel like that just kind of goes against the spirit of hockey than to just go around attacking people. Like to me, I read that tweet and I'm thinking, this guy's saying, how about instead of making death threats to Jake Gardiner, we go and make death threats to Montreal Canadian players, and that's kind of going a little bit too old school for my taste. But I will say that out of all the tweets we've had so far on this segment, that is one of the ones that makes the most sense. So I'm gonna agree with you there. Up next, we got, quote, "I'm really sad to wake up to find Kadri traded. This sucks. A heart and soul guy traded from the Leafs. I guess I like the Avs now too. Hashtag Leafs Nation."
I'm with you too. I'll throw on my Nathan McKinnon jersey and we'll start cheering for the Colorado Avalanche. You know what? I have to. I'll put a sidebar admittance here. There was a point in time when things were not exactly the happiest for me, and I listened to the Stanley Cup final with the Colorado Avalanche winning the cup with Ray Bourque, they will always have a special place in my heart, especially with players like Joe Sakic and Peter Forsberg and Milan Hajduk, Patrick Waugh backstopping them. Like I said, that they'll always have a special spot. And now where they've drafted a kid from Cole Harbour, which is where I live, getting to see Nathan McKinnon play with the Mooseheads, which is Halifax's team. Watching Nazem Kadri play for them, I wouldn't say I'd be a fan, but if their game was on, it would hold some more intrigue for me for sure.
Yeah, but you're not going to go and start rooting for the Colorado Avalanche, right? Because you're not a crazy person like this guy.
No, I wish I'll root for Nazem Kadri. I'll root for players as individuals. Like, there's lots of players throughout the league that I like and that I'll root for, especially when I'm invested in a fantasy hockey pool. But if they're playing the Leafs, all bets are off.
Yeah, really. I'm just because we lost a guy that I like and he's on a different team now. I'm sorry. The reason I support the Toronto Maple Leafs is because I grew up in Toronto and I live in Toronto, and that's who I root. That's my team. They represent the city that I spend so much time in and put so much effort in. I mean, that's why I root for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're one of the most historic teams that's around, and I don't just mean in the NHL. I mean in sports in general. Can't really say too much about the Colorado Avalanche. They're the reason Winnipeg left originally. Anyways, quote. We're getting down to the nitty gritty now. Quote, why are Leafs fans treating Mitch Marner and his dad as if they were Jake Gardiner? The Isles fans were more respectful to Tavares. Hashtag Leafs Nation. So many things are wrong with that.
So what animal have they thrown at Mitch Marner and his father? The only thing that I've done so far is I've compared Darren Ferris to Paul Heyman. Because I do believe that he is a mouthpiece. He's a hired mouthpiece. And that's what Paul Heyman is for Brock Lesnar. That's what he is in the WWE. So you know what? That's what I've done for lovely Darren Ferris. But as far as Mitch Marner and his dad, you know what? Mitch Marner really hasn't taken that much heat from what I've seen. Everything, all the visceral, all the hatred, all the venom seems to be going towards his agent and his father. And you know what? Rightfully so, because a lot of people seem to know the behind the scenes that goes on with Paul Marner and that he drives this and this is what's happening because of him. So if people think that's the way it needs to be, that's the way they need to spit their venom, that's fine. But I don't see them going as crazy as the New York Islander fans did, making videos about how their newborn baby will never know the snake-like travesty it was to see Tavares leave after 9 seasons, or paint your face half purple and blue and be twisting in the wind upset because John Tavares screwed you over, or throw snakes or throw jerseys or whatever they did at him when he came back. I mean, and to say as if they were Jake Gardiner made a couple blunders in the playoffs. Hey, guess what? He owned up to it. He moved on. It affected him during training camp last season to the point where I think he did see a sports psychologist over it. So this whole thing that we're treating Mitch Marner like his dad and Jake Gardiner, no, two completely different situations. Again, I think Mitch Marner is completely removed, and I think that his father and agent are the ones that are the problem.
I mean, treated them as if they were Jake Gardiner. What? That doesn't make any sense. Okay. Moving on. We have to move on because there's just so much wrong with that tweet and on multiple levels. I don't even want to consider anymore. I'm looking forward to deleting it off of my screen. Up next, quote, people are largely ignoring the fact that Marner hating Babcock is also playing a huge part in him not giving Toronto a break financially. Hashtag Leafs forever, hashtag Marner. Again, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
This doesn't even deserve an answer. It just, no.
You don't know that Marner hates Babcock. You don't know that there's any sort of conflict between those guys. If anything, Marner probably loves the guy. He gives him so much ice time and gives him so much responsibility and I don't think he's blamed him for a single damn thing since he's had him in his... what are you talking about? This is someone just making stuff up to I don't even know. Why would you tweet something like this? James, is there any sort of sense to be found in this?
No.
And that's it for another week of Weekly Leafs Week tweets. Make sure you follow the show at Offside Talk. Make sure you follow James at OHT Certified and myself at Doug J. Ireland, all on Twitter. The podcast is available on whatever podcasting platforms you like. And you can also visit LeafsHub.com. We are the official podcast of LeafsHub.com.
Also, be sure to check out YouTube. This is where the video will be. Be sure to like it if you really like it. And if you love it, be sure to subscribe. Check out each and every podcast going up on YouTube. Check us out on all the social media streams like Doug said. We need you to support us so we can support giving you the best content possible. All right, guys, like Doug said, we are out of here. Have a great night.